Hello and welcome to Connect, a program designed to ending loneliness, strengthening communities, and building a more connected, healthier Massachusetts. I'm your host, Sandra Harris, and I'm so glad you're with us today. Today's episode is all about something simple but powerful, being a good neighbor. In a world where people are increasingly isolated across generations, backgrounds, and even apartment walls, the act of being a good neighbor might be one of the most meaningful things we can do. As we prepare to celebrate Massachusetts Good Neighbor Day from September 26th to the 28th, we want to help spark a movement, not just for a weekend, but all year long. As proclaimed by Governor Maura Healey, Massachusetts Good Neighbor Day invites people of all ages and backgrounds to show up for their communities. From small acts of kindness to citywide celebrations, Good Neighbor Day is meant to spark pride, joy, and meaningful connections between neighbors. While we pause to celebrate Good Neighbor Day on these days, its true spirit is carried forward every day. Being a good neighbor is not about events, it's a way of life. Joining me today is someone who has dedicated his life to being a good neighbor and helping people connect at the local level. Joseph Porcelli, Nextdoor's professional neighbor, who also serves as the company's government and crisis response lead. Nextdoor is a community building platform that helps people connect with others who live nearby. Joseph is known around the country and right here in Massachusetts as a catalyst for kindness, connections, and community actions. Joseph, welcome to Connect.
Good morning, neighbor. Great to be here, and thanks for having me.
Good. Joseph, you worked in community connection for years. What first inspired you to becoming so deeply involved in helping neighbors connect?
I kind of felt it in my heart my whole life. I just loved helping people. I felt satisfied. It helped me feel like I belonged. It helped me feel connected to people. The other thing is I have a very good friend who inspired me through his military service, who actually just passed away, who served in the Army as a way to serve the country. And I didn't believe in joining the armed forces, but I do believe in service. So as a reflection of my gratitude for his service and all those who served, I decided I would spend a whole lot of time helping as many people as I could at home. And that was a really big part of it. There's one more thing too. It's also so much fun. Like, I love it. Being connected to neighbors, knowing people, having people wave to you, say good morning, and helping people and seeing their smile and their gratitude just kind of fires me up and it keeps me going.
Well, Joseph, I've seen you in action, so I see the fun. I see the fun element as well. For those who are not familiar with Nextdoor, what is Nextdoor?
Nextdoor is the essential neighborhood app, and neighbors use it to connect with each other, to find out things about local faves, like favorite restaurants and handymen and places, to get information from local publishers that share what's happening in their community, and to also find out about things that are going on from local government partners and from our alerting partners. So for example, Hurricane Erin is approaching the East Coast right now, and neighbors in South Carolina and North Carolina are getting weather warnings about watches and tropical storm warnings that are happening on the coast right now. They're finding out about, like, if there was a fire down the street or what happened. So if it's happening anywhere in your community, you're probably going to find it on Nextdoor. So not only are we connecting neighbors, we're connecting them to really important information, and then they can help each other and do things with and for each other in the communities where they live.
So exactly what is your job as a professional neighbor for Nextdoor?
Well, I get to do things like this. I get to represent the company and talk and tell people about our platform. But what I enjoy most is actually conducting experiments with our public agency partners on how they can be more effective at getting information out to neighbors in a way that resonates with them, and helping neighbors help each other to prepare for disasters. So one example is that a couple years ago with Cal Fire, we conducted an experiment to see if neighbors would help each other prepare for wildfires, right? Not everybody has the time, or, I'm afraid of heights. I'm not going to go up on a ladder and clear my gutters. But we did an experiment, and it turned out that about 13% of neighbors who asked for help, getting ready for wildfires, and about, I think it was 15 or 16% who offered help, had either someone help them or take them up on their offer. And that was across the whole state. And so it's one of those things where we're facing lots of disasters and things that are happening, and there's so much we can do for each other. And that's even during non-disasters, right? It can be as simple as like, I needed help learning how to change my oil, and one of my neighbors taught me how to do it. It was awesome.
Okay, so how does one gain access to Nextdoor?
It's really simple. Just go to the App Store and download our app, either Android or iPhone, or you can go to nextdoor.com and sign up.
Okay. Now, it's a digital platform, and many people feel that technology is pulling people apart versus together. So, but you've seen how Nextdoor can actually bring neighbors together. So, what's the key?
I think it's just expressing what's in your heart. Like, what do you want to do? What help do you need? How do you want to help? What would you like to do together, right? And that's one of the reasons why I'm so fired up about Good Neighbor Day, is there's really simple gestures and acts you can do, as you said, every day, and to get together. If we look at what is in the way of connection, there's lots of human things. It can be bias, experience, apathy. Often it's just there's not a way to connect or communicate. And so with Nextdoor, you can literally say, who wants to go for a walk? Or can someone help me figure out how to fix, what's going on with my flowers out front? And then someone's gonna be like, oh, you need to add such and such and such and such. Let me come over and help you, right? So think of it as like an entry point to doing things together and to helping each other out and to getting information and to, frankly, solving problems.
Okay. Joseph, we talk a lot about being a good neighbor, and that could mean different things to different people. How do you define being a good neighbor?
It's a great question. I think I'd define being a good neighbor as thinking, I have this concept, and I'm going to try it out here. So I think about like a perimeter of care. The perimeter of care, obviously, I love my family, my daughter, and I take care of them. But when we think about where we live, our house, the curb, a lot of times it kind of ends there. That feels comfortable. It's familiar. Being a good neighbor is extending that care past that curb, past that front door, down the hall, upstairs, downstairs. And so it's really about, it can be very simple. It can just be a smile, right? It can be a good morning. It can be a good afternoon. It can be holding the door for someone. And I know that people that feels cliche. That sounds cliche, but I think the magic is when you pay attention to how it feels. How does it feel in your heart when you hold that door open, or when someone does it for you? If we think about all the things we're experiencing in the world right now, from the things happening in our country and things happening around the world, it's scary and it's frightening, and that our tendency is to kind of go inward, right? But my experience has taught me that when we kind of open up and we go outward, there's all these beautiful opportunities to connect and to demonstrate care. And so, coming back to your question, being a good neighbor for me is extending that care outside the perimeter where we live. And it looks like lots of different ways, and I think it just comes naturally. You'll see those opportunities. Look for opportunities to be helpful, frankly.
So for someone watching today who may be a little hesitant, doesn't know how to reach out to their neighbor, how do they get started?
Smile. It's really simple. I'll tell you a little story. So I used to live in Jamaica Plain, and I lived down the street from City Feed, the original City Feed on Boylston, by the Stony Brook Tea Stop. And when I first moved to town, I'm a big guy, and I realized that. And I can be a little intimidating if you don't know me. And so I started just saying, morning, good morning. And I did it for like a year. And at first people were like, what? I'm not kidding. And then people started saying it back. And then one day someone was like, what are you doing? I'm like, just kind of nice to say good morning on my way to coffee. And I don't know who you are. What's your name? Hey, I'm Joseph. Right? And they're like, oh, that's cool. And it kind of changed the culture on the street. It took a little bit of time, but I loved doing it. And it was just really impactful and powerful. And again, it made me feel like I belonged. It made the place where I live feel like home. Right, and that's actually the mission of Nextdoor. So to make where you live feel like home.
So it's really a national outreach, right? It's a national program. So
Nextdoor is in 11 countries. In fact, there's over I think the number is something like 350,000 neighborhoods around the world. So we're in the U.S., Canada, all over the place.
So of all of the places you've seen Nextdoor work, which has been the most interesting you'd like to share with us?
You know, I don't know that I want to say there's most interesting. I see inspiring stories all over. Every neighborhood is unique, right? And actually, my dream is I'd love to rent like an RV and drive around the country and just like meet neighbors and have them give me a tour of their neighborhood, because I think every neighborhood is interesting, right? There's all these great stories of, you know, something happened here and this person did that over here, and you know, we had this great gathering over here, and I just love learning about that. So I know that's not the question, the answer you were looking for, but I think every neighborhood is interesting and wonderful.
You've seen thousands, many ways in which people have been good neighbors. Would you like to share some of those stories with us?
Sure. I mean, there's so many examples. Let me just go recently. In my own community, people are always doing things for each other. We have a parade, and sometime one of my neighbors invited us over to join them so we could watch the parade because they were right on the route. That's really simple, but it was fun, and my daughter was in the parade, so we got to see her. During the winter time, my daughter and I shovel our neighbors who are unable to do so themselves, either because they're physically not able to, or you know, they can't afford to hire commercial rates. We'll just go and shovel them out. On our platform, we see things all the time. We just saw that someone who volunteers with a nonprofit posted about housing resources and shared those, right? There's information people have. You can share those resources with your neighbors because not everybody knows about those things.
Joseph, tell us a story about your friend Carolyn.
There was a neighbor in JP, her name was Carolyn, and she was actually someone I shoveled out, and we became friends. We're still friends 15 years later. And what she told me is, you know, I really appreciate your coming by, but I would like to have more neighbors that I can rely on, and there's lots of things I can contribute, and maybe I could help them, but I don't know how to meet them. And so we just came up with this really fun idea because she loves to drink tea. We made a flyer, and this is actually before Nextdoor was around, but we made a flyer. She put it on her neighbor's door. She lived in a triple decker, and we did a couple buildings in front of her building, and maybe one or two on the side. And she's like, hey, if you'd like to come over and meet our neighbors and meet me, I'm having tea at 7 p.m. on Thursday. And like 9 people showed up and never had to shovel her again because she had all these people that cared for her.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. How inspiring. And I mean, it just shows us the power of being a good neighbor, right?
Absolutely.
And where that could lead. So would you agree that now is the time that we need to be good neighbors more than ever?
1,000%. Okay, so we talked about my snow crew program, but I'd love to tell you about how it got started. So back in 2009, then Mayor Booker, now Senator Booker, someone tweeted him and said, hey, my dad can't get out of his driveway. Could you send a city truck by so he could get out of his driveway? I think it was to get to a doctor's appointment or something. And then Mayor Booker said, I can't, but where's your dad live? I'll go shovel him out. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So he goes and shovels out the driveway. But all these people, back when it was called Twitter, saw this and showed up and helped him. And I thought that was awesome. And it kept going through the winter. And I knew of a neighbor whose husband recently passed away. And the local pastor at a church had asked to get people together to help clean up her home and just kind of get her settled. And I wondered, you know, who's going to shovel her out? Because I knew she had some mobility issues. So I hiked through the snow and brought a shovel with me, and I'm like, do you need help shoveling? And she said, yes, I do. So I shoveled her out. And then I was thinking, there's probably a whole bunch of people in JP that aren't able to shovel out. And at this time, I had started doing some community building work and had this email list of about 300 or 400 neighbors at the time. Actually, it was much larger, but anyway, put a message out, and I said, if anybody needs help shoveling, fill out this form. It was just a simple Google form, and people filled out the form, and then I plotted it on a Google map, and then I sent another email message out to everybody. I said, hey, everybody, you know, these 20, I think it was 13 or 20 neighbors, something in that range, all need help shoveling. If you have a couple minutes, like, just go shovel them out. And everybody did it, and I couldn't believe it. And so the work Mayor Booker did really inspired me to see if I could scale that, because I thought it was cool he was at each of those places, but that was also a bottleneck because he needed to be there. And I couldn't shovel out 20 places at once. And so that experience drove what became a program called Snow Crew. And that was really, for me, probably one of my favorite things I've ever done, because here you are connecting people who are isolated. You know, they were surrounded by people, but they didn't know who to ask. They didn't necessarily feel comfortable asking for help. And so we used technology to make it possible for people to ask for help, and people nearby who had the time and the ability to go shovel them out. And it's interesting, when that connection gets made, the snow gets shoveled, but the more important thing is there's a deeper connection, and people start to think like, oh, I wonder how, you know, Joseph is doing, or Mrs. Jones, or whoever they've just helped. And so they look out for each other and stay in touch.
What a powerful story. One of the things that we really try hard to do with the coalition and the work that we're doing is encourage people to come out to meet their neighbor together. Oftentimes, that's very difficult for people who have barriers to connections. I'm thinking in terms of people who are sick or homebound, disabled, or even caregivers, right? So how does Nextdoor work? How can they apply Nextdoor to kind of bring connections to their lives?
Well, it's really just about raising your hand, and that brings up a really good point. Asking for help is uncomfortable, right? But when you ask for help, you're actually giving someone a gift. You're giving someone the gift of contributing to you. So it's really, I know that's a little bit of a mindset. I don't want to bother. I don't want to, you know, that feels uncomfortable to me. But if you step outside of yourself, that perimeter of care, which is like yourself, you're trying to protect yourself and care for yourself, you're opening yourself up to have someone have the experience of caring for you. And I think the same applies to someone who might feel, you know, shy, for example. When you don't let people into your world, you're essentially you're preventing the opportunity for connection and care, because there's something everybody has to give each other.
This year, we're quite fortunate to have you partner, and have Nextdoor partner with us on our Good Neighbor Day annual celebration. Would you like to share with our viewing audience some of the things that you're doing and how we're working together?
Oh, I'd love to. Well, first of all, I get to attend the coalition meetings, which is really fun. And I don't know if you've known this, but I've connected with 3 or 4 people since I've been a part of that, and that's been really fun. I've made some great connections, and I think some new friends who I'm learning from. So thank you for having me. As an organization, we're helping to promote Good Neighbor Day on the platform. So if you are a member of Nextdoor or you join, hopefully you get inspired today. If you're not, you'll see messaging from us about encouraging people to participate in Good Neighbor Day, to have an event or an activity, to register on your website for that, and to do things with their neighbors. And so to support that, we created a playbook. I'm someone who needs, like, you know, pictures and step-by-step instructions, so I spent a bit of time on that, and hopefully you'll be able to perhaps share a link of that on the program. If not, you can just put it on the video that's shared so people can download that. We also have a group that we created, so if you join the group, you'll be connected to other people using Nextdoor who are organizing these events, and I'm a member of that group, so I will provide hand-holding and ideas and share and support to everybody who's doing it. So I'm very fortunate to get to roll up my sleeves and support this event that you and the coalition, or I should say we, are putting on.
Well, we also know that we did not create Good Neighbor Day, that September 28th of each year is annual nationally. Good Neighbor Day, and you're also working with Good Neighbor Day events around the country.
Yeah, we're helping to
talk
promote
more about that.
Yeah, same. We're just pushing it out on the platform to let everybody know to look for those events and to participate. So.
Oh, and we hope they use our playbook, right?
I hope so too. That's right.
Okay, so for those who are listening, who are interested, not quite sure what to do. Maybe they're feeling shy, they don't know their neighbors, they're new to the neighborhood, but they're interested and would like to do something for Good Neighbor Day. How do they get started?
I would go to your website, especially in Massachusetts, because there's so much good information, including your toolkit. I would definitely plug into Nextdoor. And if you'd like to host an event, in the playbook I have, it suggests a couple ideas. I think it's really important to get input from your neighbors, because you don't want to have to do all the work yourself, and people will contribute, and that's accounted for in the playbook. But it can simply be, how about we? what do you guys think about A, B, C, and D? Would you like to? Or I would love to. And it can be as simple as like, hey, let's just go for a walk together. Or let's meet at the coffee shop and have a coffee and get to know each other.
Okay. You know, I especially like one of the social media posts that has been developed for us by the students at Emerson, the agency who's working with us on this year's campaign. And it starts with hello, right?
It
starts
does
with
start with hello.
Right.
Yep.
So, Joseph, thank you so much for being such a wicked good neighbor and for inspiring us to see our neighborhoods not just as places we live, but as communities we shape together. And thank you to Nextdoor for helping to lead the way.
Sandra, thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show today and for inviting Nextdoor to contribute and support the crucial work the Coalition is doing in Good Neighbor Day, Massachusetts.
Before leaving, let's hear from our own Senator Elizabeth Warren on why now is the time to celebrate community, kindness, and belonging. Senator?
Hello. I am so grateful for the opportunity to join you for the second annual Good Neighbor Day. I want to start by thanking the Massachusetts Coalition to Build Community and End Loneliness, along with Lieutenant Governor Driscoll for your leadership in starting this tradition, bringing neighbors together, and encouraging us to check in on one another. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This moment isn't easy. Every day feels like a new crisis or more bad news. And in these uncertain times, when so many are feeling overwhelmed, divided, or just plain worn out, it is more important than ever that we remember one simple truth. You're not in this alone. And that's why something as small as a wave to your neighbor, stopping to make conversation, or sharing a nice memory, it matters. These small acts help us push back with kindness, with courage, with care. So, host an event. Reach out to someone who might be feeling forgotten. Connect with someone from a different generation. Let's show the country that Massachusetts leads with heart, vision, and strong commitment to community. Thank you for all that you do, and happy Good Neighbor Day.
Thank you, Senator. We want to remind our audience to visit endlonelinessma.com/GND to download our Good Neighbor Day toolkit, get ideas for activities, and learn how you and your neighbors can be a part of our celebration. Register your events at our website. And let's remember, we don't have to wait for September 28th. Let's start now, because when we show up for one another, every day becomes Good Neighbor Day. I'm Sandra Harris, and this is Connect. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and stay connected. And happy Good Neighbor Day.
Hi Massachusetts! I'm excited to invite you to join us in celebrating Massachusetts Good Neighbor Day, a weekend-long celebration of community connection in the Commonwealth. An annual event of the Massachusetts Coalition to Build Community and End Loneliness, National Good Neighbor Day is officially celebrated nationwide on Sunday, September 28th. However, this year in Massachusetts, we are extending the celebration all weekend long from September 26th to the 28th. This is our chance to come together across generations, help stave off loneliness and social isolation, strengthen our communities, build new friendships, and show what it truly means to be a good neighbor. We're encouraging cities, towns, and neighbors across the Commonwealth to host events and activities that bring people together, again, across generations. Potluck dinners, block parties, pet parades, music concerts, dance parties, service projects, you name it. Whatever brings joy and connection to your corner of the state. Interested in celebrating Good Neighbor Day in your community? Please download our 2025 toolkit for more information, activity suggestions, community building techniques, and promotional ideas. Let's show up for each other to create a stronger, kinder, and more connected Commonwealth of Massachusetts, one neighbor at a time. Look forward to seeing you there.
Hello everybody, my name is Elizabeth Porcelli, and I am so excited for Good Neighbor Day, and I hope you are too.